When I indulge myself in art, I'm lost. I'm lost with questions. While Agamben in his book states that by the term of apparatus he meant a kind of formation, so to speak, that at a given historical moment has, as its major function, the response to an urgency. The apparatus, therefore, has a dominant strategic function. He meant the nature of an apparatus is essentially strategic, which means that we are speaking about a certain manipulation of relations of force, of a rational and concrete intervention in the relations of forces. To develop them in a particular direction, or to block them, to stabilize them, and to utilize them. I feel that art is the only language which records time. Therefore, it is the responsibility of an artist to record social problems. The way Indian dance Uday Shankar depicted the labor problem in his film Kalpana 100 years ago, art is thus confused with a cultural object and may give rise to any of the discourses to which anthropological data in general lend themselves, as stated by Jean-François Lyotard in The Critical Reflection 93. This questioned me. As an Indian classical dancer, am I not participating in a ritual that is not my own? I am not religious, but I must perform it every day, as with religious text. Where am I stuck? If in one of the Indian classical dance forms, Manipuri, they can portray a burning issue like rape by the army men, it reminded me of Zafar Panahi, who was formally banned from filmmaking by the Iranian government. Despite government threats and suspended sentence, Panahi completed 4 features over the next decade. In September 2022, one of his films, No Bears, won the Special Jury Award at the Venice Film Festival. Therefore, artists must work deep down where social questions lie. In 2016, the new participatory theatre from South East by the National Theatre of Scotland staged Folk, which is a Gaelic theatre experience based on the theme Home and Away. Using song, story, and imagery, Folk examines the consequences of losing words, lands, and language, and being forced to the edge. So my question is still there. Where do I stand? I am more comfortable dancing in the Irish tune of harvesting in a proper Indian style of my own. Is work leaving a deep imprint on society as a whole? Or are people being used for different purposes and the artist imparts a different identity to personal work? On the other hand, can art ever be anything but the presentation of the subset of the world, seeing as it is a practice that takes place in that very world? How about a classical Indian dance on world leaders pleading for the restoration of law and order, economic rehabilitation after the migration? Every time I return to Indian classical dance, I feel it must be sturdy, impossible that it can continue much longer like this. Yet, it always does. An interval of a year makes the visual impact more painful. The squalor more squalid, the poverty more militant, the despair more desperate. Migration by force or by choice, being a dreadful suffering for people. On the other hand, as Simon O'Sullivan stated in his essay, as practice as fictioning or myth science, published in 2014 in London by Bloomsbury. Here, the definition of a world, what it includes and what it excludes, is crucial insofar as we might make the tentative claim that art can be specifically otherworldly without meaning. It is somehow outside the world as is. Indeed, how could it be? In fact, an art practice that attempts to operate completely divorced from the world, understood here as our contemporary conditions, runs the risk of irrelevance, escapism, or simply being a sophisticated form of withdrawal.